Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. Today is December 20, 2023, and we welcome you to today's edition of Amateur Radio Outdoors Global Daily Newswire. I am your host, Luis, Hotel Bravo 9, Hotel Juliet Uniform, and today I'm reminding you that Amateur Radio Outdoors Global Daily Newswire aims to update amateur radio operators and enthusiasts on current events related to amateur radio, cybersecurity, space weather, general space news, and global geopolitics. And with that, let's go over today's news updates. In amateur radio news, presentation on small transmitting loop antenna performance. Augie Gus Hansen, Kilo Bravo Zero, Yankee Hotel, delivered an updated presentation on small transmitting loop antennas at the New England Sci-Tech Amateur Radio Society meeting, discussing factors influencing their performance. For more information, please visit the ARRL. This news was published on December 19th, 2023. Now we're moving to the cybersecurity section. In cybersecurity news, NSA's 2023 Cybersecurity Year in Review. The National Security Agency, NSA, published its 2023 Cybersecurity Year in Review, highlighting significant advances in cybersecurity. The report discusses NSA's collaboration with U.S. government partners, foreign entities, and the defense industrial base to tackle sophisticated cyber threats. Key initiatives include establishing the Artificial Intelligence Security Center, tackling intrusions into U.S. critical infrastructure, and modernizing cryptography to address quantum threats. Top 10 Cybersecurity Stories of 2023. Computer Weekly compiled the top 10 cybersecurity stories of 2023, reflecting significant developments in the field. Key stories include the NCSC exposing Iranian and Russian spear phishing campaigns, targeting the UK concerns about AI language models, and the emergence of new cyber threat actors determined to cause chaos. Other notable stories include government actions against social media security risks, collaborative efforts to enhance cybersecurity, and the evolving landscape of cyber espionage, especially concerning Chinese activities. And now we're moving into space weather. Good evening and welcome to your space weather update for December 20, 2023. I'm your host, Luis, bringing the latest developments impacting amateur radio operators around the globe. Let's dive into what's happening in our solar neighborhood. First, the solar spotlight is on region 3529, a growing and increasingly complex area of the solar disk. Despite its size, the probability of R1 or higher solar flares remains at a chance level. What does this mean for amateur radio enthusiasts? Expect weak to minor degradation in HF radio communication, particularly on the Earth's sunlit side, along with occasional disruptions in low-frequency navigation signals. And now, moving to geomagnetic activity. The forecast looks relatively calm. The NOAA's prediction suggests a peak 3-hour KP index of 3 for the next 3 days, staying below NOAA scale levels and indicating stable geomagnetic conditions with no significant geomagnetic storms on the horizon. So, we have good news for radio operators as it suggests minimal disruption to HF radio propagation. As for solar radiation, NOAA reports levels remaining below the S-scale storm thresholds in the past 24 hours. The forecast maintains this trend with only a 1% chance of S1 or more incredible solar radiation storms. This low probability means solar radiation is unlikely to cause significant interference in radio communications. Lastly, the risk of radio blackouts remain relatively low but present. There's a 25% chance of R1 to R2 level radio blackouts, which could cause some degradation of HF radio communication on the sunlit side. However, the opportunity for R3 or more significant events is minimal at 5%. In summary, while monitoring Regio 3529's development, the overall space weather conditions remain stable for HF radio operations for the next 24 hours. These conditions can change, so staying updated with the latest space weather news is always nice. That's all for your space weather update. Tune in next time for more insights and forecasts. Stay connected and clear skies to all amateur radio operators out there. With that, we move now to general space news. NASA marks ground system progress at Spaceport of the Future. NASA's Ground System Development and Operations Program has made significant strides at Kennedy Space Center, preparing for the launch of the Space Launch System rocket and Orion spacecraft for these space missions, including trips to asteroids and Mars. This comes from NASA on December 20, 2023. End of NASA's NEO-WISE mission. After a decade of service, NASA's NEO-WISE mission, initially launched as the Wide Field Infrared Survey Explorer, is concluding due to increased solar activity. This mission has significantly contributed to our understanding of the universe, studying celestial bodies like near-Earth asteroids and comets. And with that, we move to the global geopolitics section. On global geopolitics, UK joins new global force to combat attacks in Red Sea. The UK is set to join a new US-led multinational naval force, Operation Prosperity Guardian, to fend off attacks in the Red Sea by fighters allied to Hamas. This initiative comes in response to recent assaults on vessels by Houthi rebels. It aims to ensure the safety and security of shipping operations through critical trade routes like the Suez Canal. The operation will also involve ships from Bahrain, Canada, France, Italy, the Netherlands, Norway, the Seychelles, and Spain. Defining global economic issues in 2024. Geopolitical Futures highlights critical trends defining the global economy in 2024. Central themes include the centralization of power in China and the impact of elections on the Ukraine war. The forecast also touches on trade and economic realignment, stagflation, volatility, and a potential slowdown in the tech sector. These factors are expected to bring more clarity in the coming year, particularly in global economic dynamics. Geopolitics today, shifting sands or structural transformation. At the Global Technology Summit, discussions center on the Indo-Pacific region's emerging significance in the 21st century. The summit explored how shifts in the geopolitical landscape, particularly with the US's focus on India, influence global dynamics. This reflects the changing power structures and strategic alignments in the region. And with that, we're ending today's summary of all the news in all sections. If you have liked today's newswire, please forward this daily newswire to other operators if you find it helpful. Subscribe by sending an email to us at ARO-WINLINKNET at winlink.org with the subject subscribe to ARO-GDNW. This newswire has been hosted by Luis Santiago. I'm signing off today from Kloten in Zuerich, Switzerland. Thank you for tuning in and have a great rest of your day. See you soon.